We keep hearing that the New England Patriots are out on wide receivers Jerry Jeudy and DeAndre Hopkins. But actually, the Patriots are not out on anybody. Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Be sure to subscribe or follow for free to Locked On Patriots on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some much-deserved love to that Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Patriots fans, welcome to Free Agent Friday here on Locked On Patriots. Closing the week in style, and that can mean only one thing. That's right, a visit from our good friend, the counter Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2Gsports.com. Will pop in here in just a moment, and Murph and I are going to talk about the wide receiver position. Yeah, been in the news a lot on Friday. Definitely a lot to talk about there, and also provide you with our insight on who we believe could be some under-the-radar free agent gems that the Patriots have picked up thus far. So stick around, an action-packed episode for today. But first, recent reports are indicating that the New England Patriots, at least for now, are not interested in trading for Arizona Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Some reports are indicating that the Patriots might be a little bit more willing to trade for the Denver Broncos' Jerry Jeudy, but it's not looking good on both fronts. I'll start with Jeudy first, folks, because we talked about him earlier this week here on Locked On. The Cleveland Browns, who are very much in the running for his services, sent their second-round pick in next month's NFL draft, that's number 42 overall, to the New York Jets in exchange for Elijah Moore and a third-rounder. So right now, the Denver Broncos do not own that elusive pick in the first or second round that the Denver Broncos are looking for in return. What does this mean for the Patriots' acquisition of Jerry Jeudy? Well, it takes the Cleveland Browns essentially out of the mix. If Denver doesn't lower its asking price, and right now they really have a reason to ask that. I mean, you're talking about a young, prolific wide receiver, still under a rookie deal, a lot of years left, a lot of mileage left. Why would you take pennies on the dollar for Jerry Jeudy? They're going to try to get maximum amount of return for him. Now, earlier this week, I did mention that Jeudy was unlikely to become a Patriot, and I'm not wavering on that. I still stand behind that, but that doesn't mean that the Patriots would be willing or not willing to part with a first or even second rounder for Jeudy. As I said earlier this week, folks, it's all about the return on investment. And even though maybe they're not in on Jeudy right now, they're still not out on him. And honestly, they're not really out on DeAndre Hopkins either. I know a lot of buzz surrounded him on Friday morning. The Athletic's Jeff Howe put together a great piece about the Patriots' interest in DeAndre Hopkins. And I think it was a little bit misinterpreted. Jeff's piece was a lot more straightforward and a lot more nuanced than people would give you an opportunity to believe. He gave insight on his column stating that the Patriots are among the teams that believe that right now the Arizona Cardinals are simply asking too much for his services. And I'm going to quote Jeff's piece directly here. Quote, with a new Cardinals regime headed by GM Monty Ossenfort, of course, we all know him from Patriots lore, spent a lot of time up here as a scout, and coach Jonathan Gannon, going back to Jeff's piece right now, folks, rival teams know Hopkins would be a salary dump, which significantly reduces his trade value. That's why teams like the Patriots, who had early conversations with the Cardinals, don't plan to pursue him unless there's a substantial change in philosophy, according to a league source. That means, folks, that right now the New England Patriots are not willing to pony up for the asking price that the Cardinals have for DeAndre Hopkins' services. It doesn't specifically say that they've taken themselves out of the running. It's possible, not likely at this point. But that's important. That's very, very important because don't forget, a couple of weeks ago, the Houston Texans sent Brandon Cooks to the Dallas Cowboys for a fifth and a sixth round pick. That type of return, I think, really woke the Cardinals up a little bit. They've been asking for a second rounder for DeAndre Hopkins. And they have to remember DeAndre's age, his health situation, injury situation. Teams may be a little bit reticent. That's understandable. And the Patriots are probably among them right now. So I think if they're going to trade DeAndre, they're going to have to lower that price. I always come back to Aristotle and say virtue lies in the middle. And I think right now the cost is going to be somewhere in the middle of that second rounder and that fifth and sixth round package, maybe an established NFL vet in there too. You could take a lot of different permutations to get this thing done. But the bottom line here, folks, is that the Patriots, if they're going to part with valuable draft capital, they want to make sure that they're getting fair value in return. And if the Cardinals lower their asking price for DeAndre Hopkins, the Patriots will likely re-enter those talks. I don't think there's any question about that. He is too valuable of an asset for the Patriots just to completely turn their back on. But the Cardinals are going to have to come down. And that's the key. Will they be willing to do that? We're going to continue to monitor that throughout the weekend. If they decide that they're going to still want a top flight wide receiver and they believe that the only way to get it is to surrender a day one or a day two pick, well, then I don't think they're going to do so for DeAndre Hopkins. They might do it for the youth of Jerry Jeudy. So bottom line, I still don't think either of these deals actually happens, but keep a sharp eye on the market. Things could get interesting as early as this weekend. And if news does break, folks, we will be the first to bring it to you here on Locked On Patriots, analysis and breakdown. So keep a sharp eye out. And don't forget, we're going to be back here first thing Monday morning, regardless, to bring you the very latest ins and outs from Foxborough. So that's the latest on potential additions, but there was a subtraction, and that is wide receiver Nelson Agholor on the move. Unrestricted free agent agrees to terms with the Baltimore Ravens on Friday. The deal is for 1 year with a maximum of $3.25 million. And of course, Nelson was a part of New England's massive 2021 free agent overhaul. He came off of a career year in Las Vegas. A lot of people thought that he would take that deep threat ability here to New England. I was one of them. I really had some high hopes for Nelson, but unfortunately, it just never worked out. He just never lived up to the production that he had with the Raiders in 2 seasons with the Patriots, 68 catches, 835 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So the writing, I think, was on the wall for Nelson Agholor here in New England. You saw his playing time diminish down the stretch. Didn't record a reception in the Patriots' last 3 regular season games. He played just 4 snaps in the season finale. So he goes on to greener pastures for himself, hopefully in Baltimore. I can tell you from personal experience, he is a phenomenal teammate, beloved by the guys in that locker room. Maybe a new beginning for Nelson will be exactly what he needs to really kickstart his career. As for the Patriots, they still have a lot of depth at wide receiver. Tyquan Thornton, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker, all coming back from last season. Juju Smith-Schuster is back in the lineup. And, of course, Mike Gesicki is the tight end. Hi, Claire. He will be probably taking a lot of snaps in a receiver-like role. So the Patriots have a lot of ammunition as far as pass catchers go. But you can bet that they're still in the market to get one more. And even with Agholor off to Baltimore and DeAndre Hopkins and Jerry Jeudy trades looking iffy at best right now, the Patriots may still look to add that veteran free agent to fill the void. And in that vein, we are about to welcome that counter Murphy Fisto himself, Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports, talking veteran wide receivers and our choice for the best under-the-radar signings for your New England Patriots when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, the Built March Madness bracket is here, and our good friends at Built are bringing you this podcast today. We know you have a favorite bar or puff, and now it's your time to make it count. Go to BuiltMarchMadness.com to vote for your favorites. And when you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Wait a minute, folks. It gets better. Not only that, but one lucky Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have those Built best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. You gotta try Built. Built is the best protein bar ever. I say it all the time. I mean it every single day, folks. I really, seriously, they're so amazing. You're not going to believe that they're good for you. But what makes Built bars and puffs so good? Well, for starters, they're all high in protein, low in sugar, covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. You will not be disappointed. So make sure to head over to BuiltMarchMadness.com today to vote for your favorite. And while you're at it, go over to Built.com and pick up a box of your favorites. Don't delay. Do it today. Vote at BuiltMarchMadness.com and pick up a box of your favorite Builts at Built.com. Patriots fans, thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage here on this weekend episode of the pod. Remember, Locked On Patriots is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And joining me here today to close the week in style, as he does every Monday to open the week in style, is my good friend, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com. The Count of Murphy Fisto himself is here to lend his wisdom and counsel because it's not quite Mock Draft Monday yet, folks, although we encourage you to get those mock drafts in as soon as you can to have them featured on Monday's pod. It is Free Agent Friday. And Murph, a much quieter week for the New England Patriots free agency-wise, really across the board. All 32 NFL teams kind of took a little step back from the free agent frenzy that we saw last week. Patriots appear to be out of the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. The price for Jerry Jeudy appears to be a little bit too high. I know people are willing to go there with the first rounder and just go all in, but there are a lot of logistical and financial roadblocks to making a move of this type. So we look at the best of the rest that are out there, Murph, and the Patriots could go one of two ways. They could go draft. They could go a veteran free agent coming in here to try to take a look. When you take a look at this team, where do you see them going from here? Because you know they're probably going to add at least one more piece to this room before all is said and done.
Yeah, I'm going to go all the way back to what I said at the beginning of free agency when he was cut from the Chicago Bears, and it's Byron Pringle. Okay, Pringle did not have a really good year last year with Kansas City. He had a little injury problem, a little hiccup there, and but quite frankly, the Bears do not have the most prolific passing attack, and that had absolutely nothing to do with Byron Pringle. Had to do with the quarterback that they have under center and the guy that they have on the sidelines calling plays. Sound familiar?
Just a little bit. Yeah, I think, yeah, in a lot of
Okay.
ways, I think, yeah, we're still all really reeling from a lot of what happened there. Look, yeah, I think you're right on the money in terms of being able to get a savvy veteran, someone that can come in here, maybe revitalize a little bit of what he has and some of that prowess that was attached to his name. And I think Pringle can be a guy that comes in here and thrives, especially with a pretty good supporting cast around him. I know that surprises a lot of people when we say that, but there is a lot of talent in that Patriots wide receiver room right now when it comes to Juju. Devontae Parker is someone that can come in and do a good job here again in his second year, now 1 year under his belt. Tyquan Thornton, I think, is ready for a bigger year than a lot of people are thinking. Yeah,
Just
at this
watch
point,
people.
yeah.
I'm really not in love with bringing in another XY guy. It would be detrimental to the Slim Reapers development in the second year. But Pringle is a man who can come in here. He's caught his last year in Kansas City. I think he got more than almost 600 yards in receiving. He put up 5 touchdowns, at least 5 touchdowns, and he's another weapon. He's another guy that can go up there and get the ball. He's not a Lilliputian. He's 6'1", not quite as tall as my son, but still. He's somebody that Mac could utilize that would be a fantastic rotational piece. And as you know, folks, injuries happen. Okay, we've got guys on this team right now that do have injury histories, including the guy that we just brought in, Juju Smith-Schuster, who's had knee issues in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are things that you have to talk about. You have to have that depth, and yeah, I do see the Patriots signing a veteran free agent and possibly still grabbing a wide receiver in this draft, possibly very early if the right one falls to them.
Yeah, without any question. And I think they will look at the wide receiver class this year. Not an extremely deep class. I think in previous
No,
episodes I may have overrated it a little bit, but there is a lot of top heavy talent here.
there
Patriots
is.
would have to be savvy about bringing guys in, but there are diamonds in the rough, mid to late rounders that could come in
Yep.
and make a little bit of wave here for the New England Patriots, give them a little bit more firepower. You mentioned Pringle, and I think that's good because not a lot of people are talking about him. I think
No.
it's an interesting prospect.
Who would you rather have? There are names like Kenny Galladay out there. Roby
Mhm.
Anderson, I want to have nothing to do with whatsoever. Randall Cobb is 317 years old. Marvin Jones, thank you, no. Julio is the oldest man on the planet. Okay, and he found Brady's cliff before Brady did. All right, so bye bye, see you later. And you all wanted him last year, and Mike and I were saying no, no, don't do it. So yeah, here we are. Byron Pringle, pop the can. Lovely stack of chips that just fit right together, and I think Byron will fit perfectly in that tall tube in New England in that wide receiver room. God, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Well, as long as we're, by the way, I love the reference there. It was always good.
You got to feel
I
for the flavor of a Pringle.
Yeah,
Tired.
that's
Tired.
that's always good. I like the 317 years old comment about Randall
Yeah.
Cobb as well. Kind of very Coming to America ish. Joe Louis, 137 years old when he fought. But in any case, I love it. I really do. I love it. Murph, obviously, talk about Byron Pringle, I think definitely is more realistic in terms of what the Patriots are going to do here now that we're starting to see a lot of these free agent dominoes fall. But perhaps the biggest free agent domino when it comes to the wide receiver position is still out there. And Odell Beckham Jr. continues to be the elusive target that so many teams would absolutely love to have on their squad, but yet he continues to remain unsigned.
Yep.
When he's dialed in, there are few talents in the
Sure.
league that can match his athleticism, big playability throughout any question. This kid definitely has it. 7,367 yards, 531 catches, 56 of them gone for touchdowns in a 9-year career. So there's not a lot of questions to whether or not this guy can do it. He can do it, and he's done it for a good long while. But again, there are questions about maybe his physical abilities. He is coming off of an ACL. I understand that they do wonders in terms of being able to reconstruct that, but you never know from one year to the next what it's going to take. I remember guys like Wes Welker coming back from that injury and saying that it took him a full year to be Wes Welker again. That first year was just not.
And he couldn't be Wes Welker for a long time.
Exactly.
It didn't last for a long time for him after that coming off that surgery either. That's when things started to go down. He still had a couple of really productive years, but it took years off his football life.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're seeing videos. We saw the same videos of him making athletic catches at, these throwings and these
Against
sessions I think that's important to remember where they're being thrown from, how they're being thrown, and they're designed to make you look better. You're obviously going to cater to your strengths in these matters.
You're going to script it.
Exactly. I know Bill Belichick has had complimentary things to say about Odell. This is in no way a knock to him, whose game I absolutely love. I don't see this happening. I don't see it happening under any circumstances because, first of all, I don't think Odell's going to lower his asking price enough to be palatable to the Patriots. And even if he does, I still don't think this is quite the fit that everyone in New England wants to see. I know people still salivate over this name. I don't see this happening. I don't think the Patriots go this direction. What say you, my friend?
No, I can't see it happening. I will eat one of Butchie's hats. And you don't want to do that, people. You don't want to eat one of my son's hats. He he for all the reasons that you said, and just he's another me guy.
Mm,
Me. He's never really been the team player in my you know distant look at his career. It has never been about the team. It's always been about him. Yeah, there was maybe a little pride swallowed winning a Super Bowl out there in LA, but he took a year off, and it wasn't his decision to take a year off. He wanted to come back and play, but people just were not. It, they're not going to pay him this kind of money. I'm not shelling out this kind of cash. I don't see him taking a 1 year prove it deal to come
mhm,
here or go anywhere. You're going to have to invest time and capital into bringing him in, and I'm not doing it.
mm. Yeah, I mean, there's always something to be said about the individual, the glorification of the individual when it comes to wide receivers. And yeah, I think there is a little humility that comes with age, that comes with experience, that comes with maybe having to take a back seat or knowing that you weren't the catalyst and the reason why that ring is on someone's finger.
Right.
Although, with Beckham, I mean, you look at the game that he was having and people wonder whether or not that could have really been even something more. 2 receptions, 52 yards, a
Yeah.
touchdown in the limited sample size that he had
Yep.
on the field against the Bengals in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So maybe there is a little bit of that. Maybe playing for Bill Belichick would be a draw for him. But ultimately, I think Odell is looking to play with a veteran quarterback that can maximize his
Right.
abilities right off the bat. I think the learning curve with he and Mac would be a little bit too difficult. So, folks, if you're still pinning your hopes to Odell, I'm not seeing it here in New England. And again, Murph and I will have our humble pie a la mode, and
Yeah.
we'll do it right here on Locked On
Yep.
Patriots if, in fact, he does sign. But at this point, it's looking like the Patriots are going to go either the second-tier veteran or maybe through the
That's it.
the draft, and
I have said
that's
for
where I think they're headed.
years. I have said for years there are two kinds of wide receivers in the NFL when it comes to free agents. Ones that are looking for a ring and ones that are looking for a payday.
Hmm.
Okay, he has his ring. I think he wants one more payday.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I think
whoever
that
comes up with the most money. And then there's the other side of that coin, the guy down there in Arizona who is looking for his ring. He has
mm,
his bag. Now he wants his respect, and you get the respect through the ring.
yeah,
The
absolutely.
two reasons that you're not coming here, because the Patriots aren't winning a Super Bowl this year. Things would have to, I mean, sorry to burst everybody's bubble, but things would have
Hmm.
to break really, really well for the Pats to be hoisting a Lombardi in February. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities, but like I said, things are going to
Yeah,
really have to go
it's
well
tough.
for them. So that's it, and they're not paying the money. They're not paying the freight.
Mm. Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I think you're absolutely right. So because of that, it puts the Patriots maybe at a little bit of a disadvantage as opposed to
Yep.
some of the teams that they're competing against. But Murph, even though the big splash name is probably not still out there for the New England Patriots, there are still a lot of under the radar signings that this team has made that
Yep.
actually may end up moving the needle for New England in 2023. Special teams is always a big concern. I saw you tweet that out last night, my friend. But not only that, a lot of internal retentions that I think are make Patriots fans very proud this year, and a couple of them that Murph and I will discuss in just a moment that might end up being some of the best moves that the Pats have made all year. Internal, external, under the radar, diamonds in the rough when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, today's episode brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. The tournament is heating up, and there is no place to get in on the action like FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Murph's excited. His guys are headed to the Sweet 16. I hate it, but I respect the hell out of it. But one thing you can do is you can maximize your earning potential by going with our good friends at FanDuel, because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a no sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's an $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. And go to fanduel.com/locked on to sign up today to claim your no sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line to the point spreads to which team will be cutting down that net. all on the app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Patriots fans, the legend himself, the Green King of Sting, the Connor Murphy Fisto, Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports joins me here today on Locked On Patriots, of course, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And Murph, in the previous segment, we talked about the moves that the Patriots may still make, moves that they may end up not making. And most of it does revolve around the wide receiver position, which, for better or for worse, is always going to be the polarizing position when it comes to the fan base. Fans will absolutely talk in droves about the next wideout to come through those doors, but the Patriots have quietly been adding pieces to their roster, adding a couple of numbers to their repertoire, so to speak, that I think could end up really paying dividends for this team in the long run. When you look at this team from top to bottom, obviously the big ticket items like Mike Gesicki, Juju Smith-Schuster, they're going to get the headlines, and they have gotten the headlines. And internal retentions like Jonathan Jones and Jalen Mills have each got their moment in the sun. But when you look at this roster, top to bottom, what are the under-the-radar signings that you look at? What brings a twinkle to your eye right now and say, that was a smart move, that was a good one?
Daniel Agholor. Fantastic move to bring him back. He played 32% of the snaps last year due to a lot of injuries, and I think he's just another depth piece. These people keep talking about, oh, okay, you brought back another depth counts, people. Okay, there's a reason that good teams do not make the playoffs. There's a reason that great teams become good teams and are knocked out early in the playoffs because they don't have that next man up. Okay,
Right.
Bill got hit with that a little bit last year, especially on the offensive line, but he doesn't want this defense to falter. He knows that this defense is what's carrying the water of the New England Patriots. And if you can get a little bit more out of the offense and bring in a couple of pieces there, then that's it. But I think Daniel Agholor coming back is a sneaky under the radar move that is going to pay off for this team in the 2023 season.
So well said. And Agholor is someone that Bill Belichick has never shied away from singing his praises. And you're doing something right in that type of role when you're consistently being called out by Bill in post-game press conferences and saying Dan has done great things.
Right.
He's been there all over the alignments in terms of the front seven and multiple locations where he can be deployed. So I love that. I think that's absolutely right on the money. I love his retention, and I think the Patriots made a smart move by bringing him back.
Yep.
You can throw in guys like Matt Wilson, and you can throw in guys like Raekwon McMillan, who are coming back on, team-friendly deals. They've got another year under their belt. Explosive, athletic. The potential is there with these two. We love to see them put it all together, and I think they have the opportunity to. But Agholor has a number of years now in this system, and he's someone that I think can really pay dividends for the Pats defense in the months to come. When it comes to the 2023 year. I'm going to go to the game's third phase. One of my favorite signings so far for the New England Patriots has been Chris Board. This team was in desperate need of special teams help. Folks, when you look at Football Outsiders DVOA metric, the Patriots ranked 32 in the league last year. That has got to be sticking in Bill Belichick's craw like you can't imagine. This is not something that Bill is going to let sit, and he did not let it sit. Matthew Slater coming back obviously was a huge addition for this team because of the experience, everything that he brings. But Board is one of those guys that can be a game changer in special teams. Last year, when the Patriots played the Detroit Lions, and you heard Bill Belichick say, this is the best special teams player we're going to play against all year. It raised some eyebrows. A lot of people's ears went up, except for those in the room that were in the know, that knew what he was talking about and knew exactly what he meant, because this guy is definitely a special teams standout. 1,721 snaps within various coverage units. He can align all over the place when it comes to special teams. He's actually a pretty good reserve linebacker as well, believe it or not. 115 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. He's not going to do it consistently at that level. Played a little bit more in that realm with the Ravens than he did with the Lions, but at the same time, This kid definitely can come in, and I think he can be a huge addition to that
Right.
special teams core. So I love Chris Ford coming back in, and to me, I mean, you can never have enough firepower when
You
it
won't
comes to
you won't
special
see
teams coverage.
right. You won't see this special teams unit this year giving up 2 touchdowns in the final game
Yeah.
of the year.
Absolutely.
That really stuck in Bill's craw. It was a huge reason why they didn't get into the playoffs last year, and that pissed Bill off. So everybody
Yeah.
that's out there talking about money spent on specialty, there's still 3 phases to this team, to
Mm.
this game. No matter what you talk about, uh, punt return numbers or kickoff return numbers and percentages of how many are actually returned, there's still 70% of them being returned. There's
Mm.
still 40% of them being returned. Um, and when you are not one of the elite offensive teams in the NFL, you've got to be able to flip that field. You
Mhm.
really do. And moves like this are a huge part of that.
They are a very huge part of that. And staying on the special teams unit for just a moment, because we've talked about in the past, Murph, how important it is to have special teams specialists that are comfortable in their realm.
Yep.
Re-signing Joe Cardona, I think, is a big part of that as
Oh,
well. That's
huge.
another move that I
Humongous.
think should get a lot more praise than it is. I think it does get some because Joe is so popular up here and people
Right.
love what he brings to the table. But Patriots did make a special teams move yesterday that I know caught your eye. You
Yeah.
tweeted about it several times. Corliss Waitman coming in from the Denver Broncos, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
This has a chance to be a sneaky good move for the New England Patriots.
It
I really
does.
like watching Corliss. I think the Patriots might have got something here.
Yeah, so do I. Corliss, he in not a lot of action in 2021, averaged over 50 yards a punt. He was first in the league
Hmm.
in net yards, and it was fantastic. Last year took a little bit of a step back, um, was still top 15 in the league, and I think that he spent some time here, I believe, as an unrestricted free agent coming in,
He
an
did.
undrafted free agent, played a little bit on the practice squad or something to that effect, so he knows his way around New England. And yeah, I do. I think there wasn't a kicker on this team. There
Mm,
wasn't a punter on this team. There was nobody to kick the football off. There was nobody to kick punts
it's
2
true.
days ago, and now there is. And now you don't if you're happy with this move, and I think Bill is, you really don't have to use one of those fifth or sixth or seventh round picks on a kicker, you on a punter. You can wait until after the draft and bring somebody in and have a little competition, but you don't have to use a chip to go get one.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they choose to use that chip to go get one, I think we've talked about Michael Turk. Obviously,
Yep.
there are options out there either in the draft or maybe as undrafted free agents to
Right.
come in to be able to push him.
The
But if
Rutgers
they are
kid.
going to,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bill loves his Rutgers
Yeah.
guys. He's going to do whatever he can to get
Got to
one of
pay
them
that
in the
tuition
fold
off.
here.
Got to pay your kids' tuition off somehow.
I'm not touching that one, folks. That came from Murph. That did not come from me. No, I'm kidding. All kidding aside, yes, he did. Corliss was here for a couple of months, played on the
Yep.
practice squad for a little bit. Brief stay. He was signed off of the
Right.
practice squad, 53-man roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021, and he did play a few games for them, obviously. But last season really came into his own as the primary punter for the Denver Broncos.
And
Had
he
some
had to do a lot of
accolades.
punting up there in Denver.
96, leading the league up
Jesus
there. Not,
Christ.
yeah. I mean, he did a lot of it, no question about it.
Yeah. Not a lot of
Week
going for it
3,
on fourth down, even
yeah,
with Jerry Jeudy out there. Didn't go for it a lot on fourth down, did they?
I love it. Look at the full circle. We started talking
Yeah.
about Jeudy. We're going to end talking about Jeudy in a couple of minutes, but definitely wanted to give him his just due. Week 3 of the 2022 NFL season, 10 punts, 6 of them went inside the 20-yard line.
There you go.
Helped the Denver Broncos to an 11-10 victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Not a lot of people thought they could win
Got a
that game. They
big
did it.
accurate leg.
And that was a lot of the reason for that win was Corliss Waitman being able to come in, earned AFC Special Teams Player of the Week for that award, award for that performance.
Good
So,
pull. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
good stuff on his resume there. Also, if you want to talk about hang time, and Our good friend Alex Barth over at 98.5 The Sports Bug loves
He loves
hang
his
time
hang time.
with punters. 4.37 seconds. So that's within the top 10 of the league
That
last
is.
year. Pretty good for a guy that the
And
Patriots
he's
got
accurate
under the
too.
radar.
He's accurate. He's an accurate kicker.
Mhm.
Something that we haven't seen here for a couple of seasons in New England. Squats be damned. Bailey did not have a good 2021. Okay, and he
No, he
didn't
didn't.
start being asked to do squats till 2022.
Yeah, there was definitely something going on there as
Yeah.
well. The 3 blocked punts. I know a lot of people are going to blame coverage for that. I'm not saying that it wasn't coverage that was the responsibility for that, but the punter bears some brunt of the
Yep.
responsibility as well. So time to move on for all sides, and we'll see what Waitman can
Yeah.
provide. But again, I think this has the opportunity to be a very good move for the New England Patriots, and in the theme with under the radar potential gems that the Patriots have put out there.
There you go.
Murph, what can I say? You start the week in style here on Locked On Patriots, and you always close the week with more style. I don't know how he does it, folks, but he does it each and every week. So thank you for joining me here today on Locked On Patriots. Before I let you go, my friend, please let everyone know what you will be regaling all of the Boston sports universe with this weekend from the great pen, the great voice of Thomas Murphy.
Well, Steve Balistreri is going to stop in at One Patriots Place this week. Don't miss that on Tuesday. The triumphant return of Steve Balistreri as a special guest writer over there at patsfans.com and former host of One Patriots Place and, host of the great Patriots 4th and 2 podcasts. He's still doing that one. And of course, there's more Red Sox stuff. I've got a nice piece up there today about the Red Sox rotation and what they're going to be breaking camp with. Go check that out at E2G Sports. And as always, you can catch me on that little bird app down there at TMurph207 and find out, if something else ticks me off or tickles my fancy. You never know where I'm going to write.
Absolutely, folks. And definitely anytime he puts pen to paper, voice the microphone, it's a happening. Pay attention because you're going to be informed, you're going to be entertained, and what more can you ask for than that? And folks, please, from the bottom of our hearts, definitely check out the next One Patriots Place. It'll be great to see Steve back on the airwaves. We miss him here on Locked On Patriots. We wish him all the best, and we always continue to. And we hope to have him on the airwaves back here, lending his level-headed wisdom and counsel. There's still only one voice of reason here on Locked On Patriots, and we need it desperately here in Patriots Nation.
I need it.
In the meantime, well, that is true. But in the meantime, folks, we thank you, each and every one of you, for taking time out of your schedule each and every day, all week long, to join us here on Locked On Patriots. If you've made us your first listen, please make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes. From free agency to the draft, salary cap management, and more, my good friends Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino, NFL experts extraordinaire, and they're going to guide you through that process, what it's like to build a successful NFL franchise every Monday through Friday. You can find Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. A proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, just like us here today on Locked On Patriots. On behalf of my good friend, the Count of Murphy, Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports, I'm Mike Debate. Continue to stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day and a great weekend, everyone.
Open a tube of Pringles.